All right, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, the Binge and B. What you watching on TV? All right, well, it's been a minute since I came through. I've been down for the count for a little bit, so I have to humbly apologize. Therefore, I will be making it up, and this is going to be a review for Baddies episode 8. Okay, so episode 8 opened up with, it kind of left off with the fight that happened at the end of 7, where I believe Tommy had some friends in her little glam squad or some shit. They pull up, because I guess she's leaving, but then they jump out, and then I think they go for Cold Killer, which was weird. I kind of don't understand what that was about. But so that's what happens. That transpires, and then the girls break up the fight or whatever. The rest of this episode is really just motherfuckers talking. They walking and talking, and they sitting up. Rolly meets with Summer, and they kind of go over the transition in the relationship between Summer with Lex and Dolly. Summer basically is saying that she is on her self-healing adventure, and that it makes her feel worse, or she feel like they being bad friends by telling her that she's a bad friend while she already trying to do a little self-reflection. Honestly, you know what? I think I understand what she's saying. I understand what she mean by that, and it actually make a little sense to me. But Summer, you still a shitbag. Like, we're gonna get you to grow all the way up before we really start laying on sympathy for you. The next talk is basically with Cold Killer and Tavy Baby. They really just kind of talking about the incident that happened at the beginning of the episode, where that's where we find out that the girls jumped on Cold Killer. Tommy's friends jumped on her. And then they really kind of discussed the performance and going to the concert or the event that they heading up to. I will say that this conversation is very lackluster, and although Cold Killer is a rapper, she is not the greatest conversationalist. Although it could be difficult to have a fluid conversation when you got a bunch of cameras and shit in your face. Nobody probably talks as they normally would when they got cameras and shit in their face. So there's something going on with K-Rican and Nunu behind the scenes or on social media. And so Nunu and K-Rican had their little back and forth. I guess her and Fauna had a discussion about it before this season started. Fauna is basically saying that Nunu had made an agreement. She said that they came to an understanding. Nunu said that they would talk about it. So I guess they never really did come to that understanding that Fauna was under the assumption that they had. Basically, she didn't want Nunu talking about her friend while her friend wasn't there, and Nunu was just like, girl, I don't give a fuck about that shit, but I'm gonna talk about what the fuck I want to talk about. I find the energy behind this conversation from Fauna very weird. I can't understand why she is so pressed about anything that another bitch is saying about her friend, if her friend and the bitch ain't in the same room and they can't talk. Which also leads me to the whole thing between Cold Killer and Nunu. So apparently their little beef stems from the same source, right? So they're into it because of some shit between K-Rican and Nunu, and I guess maybe they got into a little back and forth, and then the hostility between each other became a little bit more prevalent. So I guess that's why they into it. Nunu said she was gonna check everybody's temperature. Fauna said, oh, you didn't check nobody's temperature, and you waited and brought that shit up a couple days later. And I have to agree with Nunu's definition of checking temperature. I guess Fauna thought that when Nunu said she was gonna check temperature, that she was gonna come in and be like, bitch, what's up? Nunu's perspective is, I showed up, I checked the temperature, everything was cold, wasn't nobody talking my shit, so I just moved around. Now, I brought it up later on because the shit was still in the air. So I didn't address it right then because I checked the temperature and wasn't nobody talking my shit. So to me, that makes rational sense. I understand what Nunu is saying. I guess I understand what Fauna is saying too, but I think their definitions of checking temperature is a little bit different. I err on the side of Nunu's definition. Anyway, that conversation goes left. Nunu end up getting popped in the mouth by Fauna, which is just a stupid interaction. I don't understand why these girls are so pressed with each other. It seems frivolous and unnecessary, but whatever. Then we get to the first performance. And so I think the show was okay. First person that came out was Smiley, which I didn't know Smiley had no song. The crowd response to her was fairly decent, so she did okay. After Smiley does her set, then Gretchen come out. So the crowd is not feeling Gretchen at all, and they are booing her, and it's really very sad. I feel like I just don't think Gretchen is as evil as everybody is trying to make her out to be. I don't see it. I don't get it. But we're going to come back to that because they're going to talk about that again. Next up, Nunu had a song. I don't know, Nunu was doing music or whatever, but she did her song. She said she didn't give a fuck if they was booing her or not, which they was kind of booing, but I heard mostly cheering, so I guess she did okay. Next up, we have Anna Mac. I will say, I did hear before that Anna Mac was a singer and she wasn't necessarily a rapper. That little girl can sing her little ass off. I will say I am going to start jamming her in my car. She is very road trip friendly. That girl can sing her little ass off, and she looked dope as fuck. She had on a little captain hat with the red, like. Okay, Anna, we see you, baby. We see you. And then we had a couple of little intermissions where they brought out some of the baddies that didn't really have songs and stuff in the works. I think we had Tavy. Oh, I forgot to mention Lex did do a song too, but it was not really that memorable, so that's why I forgot. But she did a song. But they had some of the baddies that came out that didn't really do a song. The two that I remember mostly that came out that didn't do a song was Jayla and Janelle. And so I think everybody's pretty happy to see them. Janelle says she felt very glad and truly blessed that everybody remembered her. And the whole time I was watching her, I was like, bitch, I do not remember you. Sorry, I don't. I just, you know. Then we get to Rolly's performance, and Rolly looks so good with her little red shit on. She looked good. I don't know if it's just because Rolly is like a West Coast girl or what it is. I don't know. Maybe it's the West Coast and then she BBW, and she just, I don't know. I like her vibe. Like her shit was dope, and I've heard some of her songs too. I like her songs, so she do be jamming. So she come out and she do her set. Now while she's performing, you got some of the girls in the back. Nunu is sitting down with Jayla and Summer. Is that Janelle sitting with them too? I think so. I think it's four of them sitting there talking. So they're sitting there talking, and everybody just kind of like, you know, going over the fact that Jayla and Summer, like when they were on the season together, like they was constantly into it and at it. Jayla is just not for this environment. I don't know. Maybe it's got to be the checks. It got to be the money that keep bringing her back, just to be very honest. But she is way out of these girls' league. I don't even know why she keep entertaining this shit. But anyway, I guess the good news there is she and Summer have buried the hatchet, and they kind of talk about it a little bit, and so they cool. As they're talking about that, then Lex come in and she joined the talk, and Lex and Jayla actually have a little exchange where they done kind of set up they beef, which is weird that they was ever even beefing. Like I figured, like when I look at Lex and I look at Jayla, like they look like the type of girls that would be friends or like kicking it together. You know what I'm saying? So I always thought it was weird that they was so into it. Of course, we know the main source of this was Summer, little tired ass. Then Tasiki come out and she do her song, everybody, bitch I eat, you know, they like her shit, you know what I'm saying? She's jamming too, so she do her performance. And then Biggie come out. I gotta say, now y'all, if you've watched any of my other reviews, you already know that I'm a Biggie fan. It's just something about that girl, I don't know what it is, but I love the shit out of Biggie. I just like how she move and all that shit. So she come out there, she is like a natural born hype person. Like she get out there and she's super crunk, she getting the crowd up. So everybody is having fun and they vibing back and forth. While they're performing, we have some of the other girls that have already come out and done their thing. Now, I forgot to mention Tinka. I can't remember where Tinka was in this. It's a baddie party, but you cannot get in with my baddie friend. I think she came out before Biggie and them. So Tinka did her little set or whatever. Now, after they're doing their little performance, this is leading into Suki Hana. So Suki Hana, she comes out, she does her performance. And I have to say, now I watch Baddies religiously. I'm not gonna lie, I do. And I know and I understand what Suki is famous for. I understand that this is like her gimmick. But listening to the lyrics of her song made my asshole tighten. I just was like, oh my God. I was just like, ew, I couldn't handle it. I mean, but I guess somebody got to do it. So Suki, she went out there, she did her shit, she performed. Okay, so after Suki do her performance, they bring out some dude that did a baddie song for Zeus or some shit. I don't give a fuck. And then I think Natalie and Lemmy performed a little bit after this. Again, I don't give a fuck. As those performances are happening, then we have the girls backstage, just a few of them. It's like Tinka, Lex, Gretchen, Suki, Dolly is back there. And they all just kind of standing around and, you know, they kind of going over their performances and how they feel about it. Well, Gretch was probably the most booed motherfucker that performed that night. And so naturally, she feels some kind of way about it. So they just kind of talking about it. And she was like, you know, my feelings is hurt. I think her response was fairly rational for how she was feeling. And so then Suki Hana decides to inform her that the people in New York was booing her because she used the word nigga when she talking. Okay, and so maybe that's true. I can't really, I don't know that we can speak on behalf of a whole town of motherfuckers and how they feeling. I think they don't like Gretch for the same reason that all mobs do the whole mob mentality thing, right? Like for some reason she was deemed like Zeus baddie villain of the year when she was on her season a couple seasons ago. And so I guess that kind of stuck with people and they just kind of rocking with it. So they booed her, you know what I'm saying? Here's what I'm gonna say about the whole thing with Suki and Gretchen. First of all, Suki, it feels to me like Suki is looking for a story storyline. She's looking for an angle and she needs somebody new to fight. Now, I think she chose Gretchen because that was an easy bandwagon for her to jump on, and that's an easy way to find a villain that's in this group of everybody getting along and kumbaya and they making up and shit. So naturally, that would be the easiest thing for her to go for. But I have to say, I do agree with a lot of the other girls that's on there. I think in real life, right, like when you from a place where it's a bunch of people that's kind of mixed in together, but y'all all are kind of from the same socio-economic background and you live in the same neighborhoods or maybe go to the same schools and shit, your vernacular is pretty similar, right? So, like I know even for myself, now myself at this age, I feel a little bit different about it, right? But when I was younger, I grew up in a atmosphere where that word was used, and it was used by like the Vatos use that word, the Asian people use that word, of course the black folks we use that word. And so we use it as a term of camaraderie, and it wasn't really like, I don't know, it's just not this shit that they made it out to be. Now, I will also say that I had this same opinion when J-Lo was harping on it on her season. Love J-Lo to death, but I thought it was really ignorant and pretty fucking stupid for her to try to beat this shit like a dead horse. Because if Gretchen can't say nigga, then why we letting Anna Mac slide and why we letting Mariah slide? Now, to be fair, I don't have a problem with neither one of them using it either. You know what I'm saying? But I just can't understand what it is about Gretchen where everybody just like, well, bitch, you can't say that. And like, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. And so it feel like Suki was really just kind of going in on Gretchen because she was kind of like an easy target. You know what I'm saying? Now, we've all agreed that we wasn't going to fight because we want to be professional. But of course, somebody had to break from that. So they trying to wrestle. The girls are trying to keep them broken up because we agreed we wasn't going to fight. You know, so everybody's trying to kind of keep them out of it. Now, at the end of this episode, I guess some kind of way Sapphire hears about them fighting backstage, and then Sapphire loses her shit. And I'm just like, these bitches are bananas. Like, y'all also know that I love Miss Sapphire. I have a auntie, I don't know, just whatever it is, but I love Sapphire. I think she's so entertaining. I think she's gorgeous. Like, I enjoy her on all the levels all the time. But on this particular instant, I thought, what the fuck is you doing? Sapphire hears that Suki done got into a fight. She's all upset. She's running back there. She's screaming. She's hollering. She cussing real loud. She like smacking tables and knocking shit over. And I'm just like, you doing all of this because Suki got into a fight with a bitch that she started over some bullshit that ain't even got nothing to do with her? Y'all not looking too rational right now, right? So that was weird. But this is basically where episode 8 leaves off. And so obviously we're gonna pick up where that left off. But yeah, and so I guess I gave my thoughts pretty much along the way. You know what I mean? Like, this episode was really pretty uneventful. It was really a lot of motherfuckers just walking and talking, and like, we on girl. But the big thing, I guess, was the argument at the backstage at the end of the event between Suki, Gretchen, and then Sapphire, which was, it just was dumb. So I don't get it. So that's all I got to say about this shit, y'all. I'm your girl, the Benji B. Finna go find me something else to watch on TV. Bye.